Well, let's talk business in a bid to drive the pursuit to join the global communities and to advance digital services and enhance quality communications infrastructure for the benefits of the citizenry. The Nigerian Communications Commission says efforts are being made by the Commission to timely auction available spectrum for 5G services across the country. Addressing journalists at the stakeholders consultative forum on the draft information memorandum for the 3.5 GHz spectrum auction in Lagos, the executive vice chairman of the NCC, Mr. Umar Dambata, maintains that there is need for industry players to understand the genuine vision of the Commission to equip the nation with latest technologies and services, which is the focus of the efforts to deploy 5G services nationwide. Mr. Dambata explains that overriding consideration is not to generate money for the federal government, but principally to ensure deployment of 5G services that enhance better life for Nigerians and the growth of the nation's economy as a whole through the provision of qualitative high-speed internet services that increase productivity and efficiency across sectors.
Whatever we do is characterized by regulatory certainty and flexibility, as you are aware. And if there are challenges in the way and manner rollout obligations are not being met, we should be informed about these challenges. And we'll put heads together to find a solution to these challenges. That is our role. That is the approach of the NCC. You know, an approach that is most flexible, predictable, and we even deploy elements of regulatory diplomacy in our engagements with critical stakeholders.
The 5G services are so revolutionary in terms of normal communication capability that it requires a whole new range of devices. So this is building up now because the industry has been preparing for this for years, but the scale of this is still so big that we have to be patient for this to come up a little bit slowly.
Well, as inflationary pressure across the globe continues to weigh on the growth prospects of the global economy, with Nigeria not excluded, economic analysts have called on effective policy formulation from both the monetary and fiscal authorities in the country to tackle macroeconomic fundamentals. Speaking earlier today on TVC News' flagship business program, Business Nigeria, Chief Consultant at B. Adedikpe and Associates Limited, Dr. Biodun Adedikpe, maintains that policymakers should continue to prioritize containing inflation, which is contributing to a cost of living crisis, hurting low-income and vulnerable groups.
Once people begin to have a fear about the near future, they begin to stop their normal economic activities of either spending or investing. We are seeing that playing out right now in the US, especially with tech companies. Most of them are sacking their staff in expectation that the US economy is going to recession in 2023. Okay, so that is because the thinking, the confidence that is coming not only from government functionaries, but even analysts like me, who are also influencers. A lot of analysts in Nigeria, they post negative interpretation of data, different than what the reality is saying. Okay, so if we don't take responsibility for putting out what is true and what is right, the facts, and interpret them also correctly, we send the wrong signals to the people, and people will behave based on what they perceive the experts are saying. And so if anyone will come and tell the public, for example, that Naira is going to lose value between now and end of 2022 or by June 2023, if people perceive this person as somebody that they call an expert, they want to also behave accordingly. So you see them begin to speculate on the Naira. You see them also begin to take actions that will make the economy to contract.
The African Development Bank Group has promised to channel $150 million to the funding of small and medium enterprises through financial institutions across Africa to enhance financial inclusion, while also addressing barriers to SMEs funding. AFDB's president, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who made this known at an event in Lagos, noted that the bank lines of credit interventions are increasingly being more targeted to support the development of regional value chains and clusters, with strong linkages to MSMEs through off-takers and other support to de-risk the ecosystem. Mr. Adesina, who was represented by the Director General, Nigerian Country Office, Mr. Lamin Barrow, said the bank has prioritized support to MSMEs in its intervention across the five strategic priorities, adding that the bank have supported more than 20,500 MSMEs and have contributed to the creation of more than 440,000 jobs, with women and the youth accounting for 60%. Nigerian crypto startups Nextcoin says it has lost its stable coins to the collapse of FTX, the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. According to reports, FTX lent billions of dollars to Alameda, including some customers' funds, which forced the price of FTX's token to fall by 86% in 3 days. Binance, in a bid to help cover the liquidity crunch, acquired FTX, but the company later pulled out of the agreement, citing mismanagement of customer funds and alleged U.S. agency investigations, setting the stage for FTX to declare bankruptcy. Recall that Bankman Fried resigned as CEO of FTX last week as the company, along with over 100 affiliated entities, commenced bankruptcy proceedings in the wake of liquidity crisis that led to the collapse of FTX, one of the world's largest crypto exchanges. The stock market moved upward to raise the prices of shares following gains by banks and manufacturing companies, Effiong Ekop reports.
The nation's stock market regained strength after weeks of trade losses. Stocks of Lafarge Wapco, Access Corporation and Bua Foods lifted threats in key sectors. Other gainers included Cornerstone Insurance, MRS, and ETI. Combined gains by these companies lifted the market's index by nearly half of a percentage point. The list of business losers included Eternal Oil, Guinness, Scar, Cotsville, and Nemeth. 131 million units of shares worth over 2 billion naira were traded in the various market subsectors. Outside Nigeria, African stock exchanges traded largely in the positive territories. The JSE in South Africa closed in green following investors' interest in government bonds. In Kenya, the Nairobi securities market closed with higher indices as many investors booked for banking securities. Finally, the market in Accra, Ghana, closed with rising prices in the various trade sectors. Effiong Ekop TVC News, Lagos.
Well, Asian shares dropped and the dollar gained today after a blast in Poland that Ukraine and Polish authorities say was was caused by a Russian-made missile. Worries over a potential ratchet up of geopolitical tensions spurred a drop of 1% in MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares. Outside Japan, Australian shares fell 0.4%. Japan's Nikkei stock index dropped 0.1%. Hong Kong Hang Seng shed 1.1%. China CSI 300 fell 0.4% by midday break. U.S. stock futures S&P 500 E-minus fell 0.2%. In early European trade, the pan-region Euro stock 50 futures lost 0.9%. German DAX futures dipped 1%. FTSE futures fell 0.5%. Crude oil prices lead today as COVID-19 cases in China continue to climb, sparkling worries of lower fuel demand in the world's top crude importer that outweighed concern about an escalation of geopolitical tensions and tighter oil supply. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude remains in the red zone, selling at $86.53 per barrel with a downward price review of 0.45%. Brent crude futures experienced a price decline of 0.27%, selling for $93.61 per barrel. Bonny Light also in the red zone, selling at $93.14 with a downward price margin of 1.64%. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers are offering $94.42 per barrel with a downward price review of 0.45%.